Alright guys, welcome to another episode of the Poncho's Paint Booth. Previously we started working on the Silent King, the Necron Silent King. The first video, we did up his little floating side things, the triacle miniers, which these aren't even part of the actual model. That's how big this thing is. So for this episode, we're going to go ahead and do up his the bottom half of his floating dais, which I will go ahead and show you now, is this thing. So, if you're wondering what you're looking at, this piece has the, well, as you can see, this is where it connects to, is going to connect to the ground. So it has all this electricity and stuff, and I'm also going to be putting the base on in this video. And then this right here is where, let me go ahead and pull them for you. This is where the big boss man himself is going to stand, right? And then these are steps that he would use to come down to the ground. His two advisors are going to be sitting in discs that are going to be right here. And then in the back, these are the engines that allow this thing to, float around and move forward. Let's see. So, yeah, even just this bottom half, there's quite a bit going on. So, what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna start with this glowing green lightning effect on this model. So there's a few different spots. There's a lot of like orbs and stuff like that. And then even on the steps, there's a bunch of little spots that I'm going to go ahead and do up. Some other edges, so like these big bands around the engines, we'll go ahead and do that. As well as in the joints. And this big old ball in the middle here. Can't really see it that well right now since everything's primed. And of course the lightning on the bottom. And just a few other spots. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that started now. Alright, so I think it's pretty apparent why I split this thing off into 2 separate videos. Because this is a lot of model. And, I mean, well, I did do a lot of small details all over this thing, so. Which it could be argued that I didn't really have to, but I had to. So now, to finish off this part, we're going to go ahead and get into our Hex Wraith Flame again. And this is going to go over all the parts that I did a base of white in. So let's go ahead and take a quick look, see what that looks like in the middle here. And then also the reason I did this first is since a lot of these areas are recessed, it's going to be easier to, clean up the edges later. So that's pretty much what the glow effect is going to look like. I'm going to go ahead and apply it to the rest of the model here. There we go. So that is all of the green glowing effects done on the bottom half of our floating dais for the Silent King. And once again, I did those first because, as you can see, everything else is just going to be cleaning up lines after this. So we're going to let that dry, and I will come back to it in a minute. Alright, so now we're moving on to some of the more, or I guess less aesthetic details. What I'm going to do now is get started on some of the inner mechanics on the throne, or the dais here. This color, the rough iron, and so that's going to be, for example, in like some joints here, where the end to the body of the chair, and also a little bit in the center here, and especially around this central orb type of deal, and a couple other spots. And again, that's going to be rough iron. Let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, so there we go. You can kind of see we got a few of the some of the underlying color, and it's a little hard to see because it's it's dark. That's kind of the point. But you can see like right here around the central orb, there's a little bit of the metal in there, and also some more in the center. It picks up the light a bit. So now what I'm going to do to make that part stand out is I'm going to dry brush with true copper. It's a little bit lighter, as you can see. And this, of course, as with all dry brushing, will give us some more edges, some more highlights to work with. And I believe this won't take very long, so get a little bit out. A little on the wet side, but I think that should be fine. Yeah. And this isn't like a huge color shift, but it'll just bring out, it'll give us a little bit more contrast without actually brightening up the main body of the work that's already done, which is the point. So you might be able to see there. You can kind of see some more of the edges without losing the feel or the tone, or you know what I mean. Without losing the work. And I'm also trying not to get any on the outer shell of what I already did, but it won't matter too much because I'm going to be going over that with a different color as well. Just a little bit on here. And then some on the base down here. And the same up top. There's a little bit edges here. And last but not least, on the thrusters in the back. One and number two. And the one big one in the middle here. And there we go. That is the metallics done for the dais. And so all we really have left with this thing is dealing with the edges on the actual main body of the throne. So we're gonna treat. You know what? Actually, let's go ahead and do that right now. So what I'm gonna do for this is we're gonna dry brush again, but whoa, without losing all my shit. But this time we're gonna go with our electric blue, which is a bit of a brighter blue. And that's pretty much going to go on everything here that's still black. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like underneath. Actually, I'll start with one of these. Yeah, underneath right here. So without doing it too heavy, You see there's a little bit of a blue edge built up on the corner there. And I like the way that looks, so that's what we're going to go with. Let's do a little bit more just so you guys can see. Yeah, so that one arm, that's pretty much what we're going to go for with the blue edges. So it'll be nice and highlighted, but without being too much. So let's go ahead and do everything. Got some blue highlight edges all over this thing, which just really makes the whole thing stand out without looking like it's unfinished. It looks more finished now. Let's see if I can give you a closer look. Now the highlights do look a little on the rough side, but it gives us a nice glowing effect all over the model, and it contrasts in a way with the green that's already in the internal glowing stuff. And let's see, that's actually all there is for the main body of this thing. Whenever we come back, we're going to start dealing with the base of this thing. Alright, what do y'all say we finish this guy up now? So really all that's left to do is the base here. And as you can see, I went ahead and I glued this thing onto the supplied base. And you'll also notice that I put on some skulls and some rocks all around to give us more stuff for our eyes and for details to grab onto. So what I'm going to do first is we'll put a base layer of field gray over all the flat parts of the base and the rocks. And then I'll start going into the skulls with Drake Tooth. That's going to be a couple coats, as always. And then I will finish off the skulls with our handy dandy Agressive Earthshade. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. Alright, so that is some of the base done. The base of the base done. And as always, we're going to have to let the wash dry, and then we'll start getting into more of the larger elements of the base. Are you listening to this show and thinking, man, I'd like to start a podcast, but I don't even know where to start? Well, Buzzsprout has the answers for you. Buzzsprout is a podcast hosting service that provides a number of valuable resources to help you on your podcasting career path. For one, Buzzsprout offers indefinite hosting of all your episodes and allows you to host as much material as you want, depending on the type of subscription that you opt for. Buzzsprout also provides a means for getting your show hosted to every major podcasting platforms such as iTunes, Pandora, Spotify, you name it. In addition, Buzzsprout also provides various means to get your show monetized through various sponsorship and affiliate programs, links to other paid hosting platforms such as Patreon and YouTube, and your own personal newsroom to learn all the tips and tricks for optimizing your podcast for the greatest return on your investment. If you're hearing all this and you're still interested, you can go to my link below and receive an Amazon gift card for starting a podcast hosting subscription that you'll receive on the second billing period of your podcast journey. Everyone has something to share, and there's no time like the present. Join Buzzsprout today. Alright, what we're going to do now is we're going to put the extra touches onto the skulls, which is dry brushing Drake's tooth on again. And then once that's done, we're going to start getting our base detail in, which, as you all know, that's a combination of astrogranite and astrogranite debris. Give us that nice sandy, or not sandy, but rocky terrain features. So I will just go ahead and get into it. I think that's a good enough amount of texture for now on the base of this thing. So we're gonna let this dirt dry off, and then I'll wash it off camera, and then we'll add in the snow effects and stuff like that. Alright people, not much left on this second part of the dais, or of the Silent King, first part of the dais. Again, the body's completely done, at least to this part, so now we're just working on the base. Still, I've already got the texture down in here, and I went ahead and applied a Nuln Oil wash off camera because, well, just more pain in the ass. So what we're going to do now is, well, we're just going to finish it up. So I'll start with a field gray dry brush over all this dirt. And then I'll go ahead and clean up the rim with matte black. And then once that's done, I'll put the snow on. But first, let's go ahead and deal with this. Oh yeah, we got all kinds of snow now. Now I wasn't able to do as much with the effect that I did with the veneers. It was just easier for me to fill in more snow in behind this model. And we got some nice big areas. This is actually the first model that I've done with this big of a base using snow and stuff. So it's nice to see that the effect still holds up pretty well. And, well, that is it for part 2 of the Silent King. Back up to, ooh, that's too far. There we go. So yes, Silent King part 2 is all finished. And by part 2, I mean the bottom half of his dais. So, once again, if you like this video, go ahead and tune into my channel, Multi-Murdy Media, and this playlist, the Poncho's Paint Booth. That's this show. I've got 2 other playlists on here also, Jankety Ass Podcast and the Gutsy Ass Gamer, if you want to check out some slightly different material. And of course, go ahead and follow my page on Instagram, Multi-Murdy Media, and on Facebook also. We're on Facebook now. And, like and subscribe if you haven't already. And again, thanks for watching.